Like we mentioned, messy weekend in the mountains. That crazy snow and whiteout conditions was very dangerous. Courtney Yoon kind of giving us a little bit of a recap of what we saw. I was actually working yesterday morning and we saw that progression of how quickly things kept getting worse and worse and worse up there.
Yeah, that's right, Erica. Conditions were really dangerous yesterday. Trying to get around was awful for people. Rabbit Ears Pass saw nearly 41 inches of snow. That's more than 3 feet. The Grand County Sheriff tells us road closures were mostly because of vehicles getting stuck. The plows can't get around them, and then the highways become a parking lot. I-70 eastbound was closed most of the day west of Vail Pass because of the storm. It did reopen late last night. Video captured by drivers shows nasty conditions around the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels. Cars were slipping and sliding on snow-packed roads. We even saw whiteout conditions along I-70 and Berthoud Pass, which was also shut down. The Grand County Sheriff says visibility was low with vehicles sliding off the road and getting stuck in deep snow. He says despite the warnings, a lot of people were coming up to ski yesterday during the storm.
A lot of times we see people that just don't have the adequate vehicle up here. They don't have adequate tires, and they haven't planned adequately. That's key, is when you come up into the mountains, you need to make sure that you're prepared, your vehicle's prepared, you have good tires, and you know what our conditions are exactly like, because unfortunately these conditions can really change.
The sheriff says it took every plow in the county to get roads back open. High winds and blowing snow were a big part of the problem yesterday. Much of that has calmed down today in time for the morning commute.
Yeah, scary situation for a lot of people out there. Of course, sometimes you have an emergency, you have to be on the road, but chances are, you know, if you can stay home, this is the time you want to do that.
Yeah. Yes, being out there yesterday was not fun. If you could avoid it, you definitely should when the roads are that bad.
Yeah, the visibility was just so terrible. All right, Courtney, thank you for the update.
Well, as first responders in Grand County tried to help stranded drivers, they were also searching for a missing kayaker in Lake Granby. That search picks back up again today. The sheriff's office says a man and his friend spent a rough night on Deer Island, and when they tried to get back to shore yesterday morning, one of them went under. The snow has made it pretty hard for deputies to search for him. They had to bring in snowplows even to get to the lake. Deputies say that the missing man is 21 years old and from the metro area, and they say this is a recovery operation now, not a rescue mission.
It's 6:04 right now, and new overnight, police in Aurora are looking for the suspects they say shot 3 people. Police say it happened near Colfax Avenue and Clinton Street. All 3 people were taken to the hospital. One of them has critical injuries. Police say the suspects were last seen near 13th and Dayton, just a few blocks away from the shooting. We're still working to find out how many suspects police are looking for.
The trial for a man accused of killing Arvada police officer Dylan Vakoff last year picks back up again this week. Sonny Almanza is accused of shooting and killing Officer Vakoff in September of last year. Police responded to a call about a family fight. Investigators say it started as a custody dispute between Almanza and the mother of his 2 kids. Vakoff and another officer were trying to break up the fight before Vakoff was shot. The trial is expected to last until late next week. If convicted, Almanza faces life in prison.
Taking a live look right now at Washington, D.C. right now, where this week House Republicans could launch an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans might have enough votes to do it. A few months ago, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy opened the inquiry without a vote. It centered around allegations that President Biden financially benefited from his family's overseas business deals. So far, there's been no evidence against the president. Now, House Speaker Johnson wants to make the inquiry official, but some prominent Republicans outside of Capitol Hill are warning against it.
Use that inquiry as kind of a Trojan horse to not then meet your responsibilities.
If the House does vote for an impeachment inquiry, it would be the first step toward a possible impeachment vote. Even then, it will not likely get anywhere in the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats.
Today, former New York Congressman George Santos says he is planning to file ethics complaints against his former colleagues. He shared these messages on social media, naming 4 House members. Last week, the House overwhelmingly voted to expel Santos. If he does file these complaints, he'd be doing it as a private citizen, and his former position would not be taken into account.
New overnight, the Israeli army is calling for mass evacuations in southern Gaza right now. Tens of thousands of displaced people have tried to find refuge in southern Gaza in the past few weeks. Now Israel says it is expanding its ground offensive to the entire Gaza Strip. The Israeli army dropped leaflets in certain neighborhoods telling people to evacuate. But leaders in Gaza say there is no safe place for those people to go. In total, health officials say more than 15,000 people in Gaza have died and another 1.8 million displaced.
It is now 6:06 on your Monday morning, and new this morning, we just set another record for the warmest month. New data shows last month was the warmest November ever. The Japan Meteorological Agency reports that November 2023 beat the previous record by 0.3 degrees Celsius. The old record was from 2020. It is the sixth month in a row of record global temperatures. Scientists say it's because of a combination of El Nino and human-caused climate change. The good news is the U.S. is taking new steps to help fight climate change. Vice President Kamala Harris announced the U.S. is pledging $3 billion to the UN's Green Climate Fund. That is the main way developing countries get money to fight climate change. The money also goes toward projects that help countries shift toward clean energy. Harris announced the pledge during a global climate conference this weekend where leaders criticized the U.S. for not doing enough. The White House says this money is the first step toward making change.
It's so important that in this decisive decade for climate action, we have accountability in addition to commitments and transparency. We've got to get the receipts.
This money is on top of $2 billion the U.S. has already delivered. Now, another big change coming. 50 major oil and gas companies from around the world say they will cut their methane emissions by up to 90% the end of the decade. The Biden administration also announced a new rule to cut methane emissions by nearly 80% through 2038. The EPA will enforce that. The EPA estimates that the result of these new policies will be the equivalent of taking more than 300 million gas-powered cars off the road for a year.
If you're looking to make the switch from one of those cars, you could get some financial help from the state. Starting today, you can enter for a chance at a $500 e-bike rebate. You can apply anytime between now and next Monday. Then the state will randomly pick the winners. You can apply online starting today at 10 a.m. It is income restricted.
And one thing you want to know about the weather, hey, how about a look at your weekend, even though it's only Monday? 39 degrees on Saturday. We're going to start kind of wintry with a chance for some snow showers. Gets a little better on Sunday, a few degrees above normal, 48 with partly sunny skies.
All right, Ed, thank you. Right now we are dealing with issues in the mountains. Not as bad as yesterday as far as conditions go, but we do have a westbound I-70 crash after the tunnel that has the interstate at a full stop. So about a mile behind the tunnel, we are dealing with some really slow speeds.
All right, Erica, thank you. A couple more ski areas are opening this week in Colorado. Ski Cooper plans to open on Wednesday. Now, this is one of the only resorts in our state that doesn't use snowmaking machines. It's actually the spot where the famous 10th Mountain Division Army unit trained during World War II. And historically, some of those soldiers would go on to launch Colorado's ski industry as well.
Monarch Mountain is also planning to open Wednesday, which is ahead of schedule. They're the other Colorado resort that relies on Mother Nature for the white stuff. They say they got nearly 2 feet of snow this weekend and hope to have as much terrain and as many lifts open as possible by this week.
Well, Michaela Schifrin just wrapped up a weekend of skiing. She competed in the Giant Slalom World Cup in Tremblant, Canada. Schifrin came in third. That ties the American record for most World Cup Giant Slalom podiums. If she would have won, it would have been a record extending 91st career World Cup win.